Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
And presenting the IVM Likes, where the IVM staff sit down, hold hands, and meditate. Then remove their clothes and discuss pop culture, things they like and dislike. All this because life is important, especially when you're lonely. Check out new episodes on our IVM podcast apps. Happy listening, and fathers. Alright, please note that the language and ideas presented on the show might not be suitable for everyone. If you're under 18, make sure your mom isn't around. If you're over 80, why is your mom around?
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
On Cyrus Says, we meet Piyush Jain and Khushboo, starters and founders of Impact Guru. More on that, but the question I asked them is, if he's Jain, why isn't she Tarzan?
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Okay, here on Cyrus Says, this is a warning for civic-conscious Mumbaikars. The traffic cops have put cameras everywhere. Everybody's getting a little photograph evidence about their bad behavior, breaking lights and speeding. So here's what I say to all of you: to be civically conscious and do your duty as citizens. Look up, see the camera, and for those 5 feet, just try to drive slowly and then speed as much as you want. Alright? Cyrus Says.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Okay, Cyrus Says, and we've got two entrepreneurs at last. It's been a long time, in fact. I've had too many bloody comedians. Naveen, my producer, who's sitting near me. Too many. Can't stand them anymore. At last, we have entrepreneurs, because this whole show is about finding people who find some different way to success. With all due respect to comedy, it's a very long road. So let's quickly go and meet our guest. Piyush Jain is the gentleman, but we'll start with the lady, Khushboo.
Hi.
Khushboo, the full name is?
Khushboo Jain.
You're married?
Yes.
Kya baat hai? Now you tell me.
Yes.
All right. Okay, excellent. So, co-founders and CEOs, both? Better say the right thing, Piyush, but if you're married, it's more dangerous. Just partners, one thing.
She's the COO. Yeah.
COO, okay.
Yeah.
Which is also, I think, a chocolate place, but I'll get to that later. Of Impact Guru. So what we'll do is we'll start and talk about Impact Guru for a second, then we'll trace your entire journey. That's the whole concept of this silly show. We'll try to have a few laughs. Okay, so Piyush, a starting block fellow. What the hell is that? Are you a diver?
It's a fellowship in the US for social entrepreneurs. So I was lucky to get selected almost 2 years ago.
What are you saying? And you have 7 years of M&A, investment banking, management consulting, Silicon Valley implants, and non-profit experience. Is this true?
Yes, I think that's basically a bunch of gibberish for a lot of work experience I have, which means I'm quite old.
Everybody does this. We Google their biodatas, including my own, and everybody acts like, yaar, pata nahi kaisa aa gaya. I don't know. But everybody puts every single thing they can find. Left-handed, squash player, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly get to Khushboo. Khushboo, what's your background?
So my background's actually in luxury goods marketing. I was working in the past for various menswear labels, setting up and launching brands, such as Hackett, La Martina in Singapore. Other than that, I
Can you do the Singapore accent and say that?
Can
you please?
La, I can.
La, I can.
Yeah, I
I
went to Parsons La for my fashion marketing. Yeah.
Fashion marketing. Yeah, it's coming back to me. Excellent. So, long time in Singapore?
About 2 years.
No, that's long enough.
Yeah.
And okay, so that's your background. So how did you guys meet?
So we actually met for the first time at his older brother's wedding. So we knew each other for a couple of years before we finally decided to get married, much to our surprise.
He's checking with his eyes. Huh? I'm watching. Fortunately, listeners can't see what I can see. But he's checking to see whether what you're saying is right or he can't remember it, so he's checking. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right. So you met on a social occasion, whatever. So let's get to Impact Guru. How did you get together? Where's this idea come from? Let's first talk about the brand.
So Impact Guru is an online fundraising platform. What we do is we help people raise money for social or personal purposes. And the biggest use case for our platform is to raise money for cancer, for funding transplants, scholarships, or to raise money for NGOs programs. I think Khushboo can probably explain it in a much better way.
So the whole idea was we realized that there's a lot of people in need of money, and then there's...
What are you saying? You just realized that?
There's no dearth of people.
Have you been to this country? Oh.
There's no dearth of people who need money for various reasons, and then there's obviously also another set of people who have excess of everything. And what we also realized is that people love to help. So why not build a platform where both these set of people come, meet, help each other, and just,
Those who want to give and those who want to take.
Yes.
In the old days, it was called America and Third World. But that's changed now. It's a little different at the moment. Yeah.
Actually, we do get a lot of support from America. So close to 50% of our donations are coming
That's
from...
because Donald Trump's philosophy is out, not in. It's a good time, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we actually do connect a lot with the diaspora audience across the world, and especially in the US
Why
and
is
UK.
that so that Indians, when they go abroad, this is like a cultural thing and not just with money, they
Yeah.
feel more for India and Indians when they're abroad? I've always felt that. I just went and saw a cricket match in England. I just felt the diaspora is just so, they love you, they just feel more. There's more emotion.
I think there are many reasons to it. One of them is obviously the disposable income. Now they're earning in dollars, so they have much to spare. And the second is obviously, somewhere culturally, America and a lot of Western countries function very differently. They don't really have a savings culture. They much rather, they live in the moment. They
They did
want
up to 2007. I'm thinking by now they've realized that India and China are the best way to go.
So they want to give rather than save, for themselves for later. And the third is obviously the guilt factor, perhaps somewhere. We left India and we're here.
You just
we
feel
wanna
more
give
emotionally
back.
connected when they're abroad than we are, in spite of the fact that we live here.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of NRI audiences are more Indian in ways that even us Indians living in India are. So, that's true. That's a very good observation.
Okay, now we've discussed the fact that obviously a lot of this is altruistic and charity driven, and I think, of course, that must be the main seed idea. But you also mentioned personal, and I have to get this off my chest.
Yes.
So if I want 5 crores to start something small, would you be interested? If a person comes to you and it's just a business, a personal business, which is not necessarily translating into helping society in any way.
Right.
Other than just selling commodities or whatever.
Absolutely. So we allow anyone to create a campaign to raise money as long as they're not selling any equity or
So
debt
let me understand, they
investment.
use this as a platform, you don't help them.
We do. We provide them all the training, the guidance. Basically, we teach them how to mobilize fundraising support. And there have been very interesting cases on the personal front. So there have been people who've created campaigns to search for God. There have been people who've created campaigns to raise money to take their girlfriend on a date, or even strangely to fly to Sweden to actually meet their future partner. So it's very diverse.
But these are really small requests. So you take a small request like go on a date or fly to Sweden as well.
So we accept any and every request as long as it's not offensive or involves any kind of profanity. And ultimately, the success of your campaign...
You don't question the person's ambition or his goal.
Not really. I mean, it's a free country, and as long as they can find the donors...
idea, free country.
as long as they can find enough people to support their ideas, we have a platform that we've given to them, and they should use it the way they like. Ultimately, it's up to the donors whether to support this idea or not. So
but there will be some donors, since you've tapped so many people. Somebody somewhere is going to be interested. Maybe he feels empathy with the guy who couldn't get a date.
Absolutely.
And doesn't know how to date or whatever. So what happened in that case? I'd love to know.
I think the person was able to get a little bit of support from their immediate friends. From their immediate friends. As it is in crowdfunding, the first set of support is always
People
from your
know.
immediate friend circle. And once you convince them, that's when strangers come on board and start donating.
That's because your primary network then gets in touch with their primary network, which is your secondary network, and so on and so forth. So crowdfunding in general moves from the inside out. Rather than just a bunch of strangers just finding your idea out of the blue and donating to your campaign. That doesn't really happen. It happens from the inside out.
What about someone trying to make a movie? Has anyone approached you with, look, I've got this script?
Absolutely. Because people say that if we go to the large producers of the world, they will completely control, what actor, what actress, what music director.
That's if they take it.
Yes. And so crowdfunding is a fantastic way to actually produce your own film. And what people do is they sell off titles and they say, if you will give me 50,000, I'll give you an associate producer title. If you can only give me 2,000 rupees, I'll give you a CD with a gift packaging and, a special mention in the credits for the movie. So there are very creative ways to actually use crowdfunding.
1,000 crowdfunders, I have to mention all of them in the film?
Not really, depending on what kind of money they put in. So, for example, you can set your rewards based on the amount they give. So if somebody is giving you, let's say, 5,000 rupees, you need not necessarily give them a title or a credit at the end of your movie. You can sort of thank them in other ways, perhaps a Facebook shout out. So you can
But
sort of...
does money return to the primary source at any point?
No.
Yeah.
So this is a donation.
So it's a tax write-off in a way?
Yes.
It will be when you're doing cancer research or helping someone with an operation, I'm sure. But when
Yes.
they're making a movie?
No. So
if you're making a
it is
blue
a
film?
donation, but when the donation is going to an NGO, we offer the ATG tax benefit. In fact, we are the only platform in the world that can offer US and UK tax benefits to the international donors, which is really fantastic because so many Indian people abroad want to help, but they think, why
red
can't
tape that
support
comes
something
into it,
locally?
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, but coming back to my question, which got swallowed, what if I'm making erotic film? It's slightly...
I don't think we've had such a use case so
You'll be
far.
getting lots now after this podcast.
So we will have to review our policies.
Only creepy people are listening to this podcast. So be very careful. And they are also in UK and US, mind you. Don't think they're only here. They're everywhere, and some of them have money. Yeah. So very interesting the way this whole setup is. You said that you're the only people in the world who are entitled to who have this platform.
In India.
That can offer US, UK and Indian tax benefits.
How's that?
I think we announced a strategic partnership with Global Giving, which is a leader in this space.
In the US.
And as a result of that partnership, we are able to do it. It's actually very difficult to offer cross-border tax benefits giving towards Indian NGOs. You know how regulated the entire space is in India with the FCRA regulations, which means Indian NGOs that need to raise foreign funds, they need to apply for a special permission to the government. And so this is fully compliant with all government regulations. And
so there are 30 lakh non-profits in India, out of which only 13,000 have this permission.
Including the political parties, huh? Pregnant pause. Pankaj is saying, let's just smile. Let's not implicate ourselves in anything.
Yes.
No, but just looking around, the whole idea of NGOs, I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a second. Many people feel that a lot of them are maybe hoaxes or frauds or don't exactly do what they say or the money doesn't go to the right sources. Ideas are always great. No one can deny the idea of any NGO sounds great. Kids, animals, cancer,
Absolutely.
heart, whatever, orphanage. But a lot of it, apparently, sometimes people say it doesn't go to the source.
Right.
So how do you get involved in verifying who the people are so that your name also remains,
Absolutely.
above board?
So we have a detailed due diligence policy in place. So whenever a non-profit approaches us, paperwork checking like for their registrations is just a very basic thing. But we go into their financials, we go into their track record, who are the people behind it, and that way we filter out, which NGOs have a much higher probability of achieving greater impact, and we also force NGOs to put up information on how the money will be utilized and update back to the donors with graphics, with videos on.
So account for everything they do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the people who've invested can at any point almost like an audit report. I know exactly what's happening.
Correct. So we
Yeah,
give
I
them
like
3 to 6 months.
What is
to
the
come
lowest donation you can give? Can I give $10?
100 rupees so far, but we are looking to push that down even
Thank
further.
Thank you. I want to feel rich. Maine kuch diya. Apparently, we have to take a break, so stay where you are. I want to talk about the beginning of all this, how you all got together. We'll go before the wedding as well.
Sure.
And where this idea came from. Ultimately, it's that one idea that separates people from great and okay.
Yes.
And you seem to have got that idea, so that's the real inspiration that we want to hear when we come back. Before that, blood group, please, in case of accidents. Just, this is a very dangerous set. We'll take a break.
Hi, I'm Ambika.
And I'm Hoshna.
Come journey with us around India as we chat about new and offbeat destinations, from secret islands to village stays, give you travel tips and advice, discuss all the yummy and weird food we've sampled, and induce some serious wanderlust.
So tune in to the Rediscovery Podcast.
New episodes out every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app you like.
All right, Khushboo and Piyush Jain, they've got us Impact Guru, which is a leading provider of crowdfunding, would be the right way to put it, I think.
That's correct.
Okay, and we're going to go right to it now. I want that idea moment, that Eureka Archimedes moment or whatever, where this idea came about, which now everybody, it's a good idea when everybody thinks, why did I think of that? Being that network between people who have heart and want to give and the potential to give, and to the people who need it. So, where did the idea come from?
So I don't think there was one particular moment. It was a series of experiences that led to that sort of journey for both of us. So I think growing up in India, when I had visited orphanages, I always realized that, I was lucky to have a home, to have a family, to be able
Depends
to go
on
to
who
school.
your parents are. I know a few people will be like, damn it, give me an option again.
Right. So, after my college in the US, I was on Wall Street. I always had this passion to do something for society. And so when I went to Harvard Kennedy School of Government, I started exploring new ways to use financial skill set to improve society. And when I was discovering various models, crowdfunding was a model that was scaling very well in the US, but not for social purposes, for a different purpose, for creating films, for hardware products, innovative services. I thought, why not use that same concept in India? And so I did my graduate thesis at Harvard on crowdfunding, published a paper at HBS.
So you're a doctor?
No, unfortunately not.
You're a nurse?
But my wife thinks sometimes I am at home.
But you said thesis.
Just for the master's degree, we needed to do something.
A thesis for masters?
Yes.
But not yet a doctor. So you're a Harvard doctor, so we can call you Doc. Good enough. Yeah. Right.
And so that really was the
Khushboo
seed.
come into it?
So
she was the first person you used as a model. I'll crowdfund our wedding. I don't know.
So when we started working on the execution of the idea, we were looking for various people to join us in this. And I was not able to get anyone else to believe in this, so I just basically persuaded her to do it.
So what did your friends say? They thought you were one of those bleeding heart guys who just wants to help people.
They thought I was a bit crazy to leave behind a career on Wall Street and consulting to go to India after a decade to start this. But jokes aside, I only bring a finance and a technical background. I needed someone who brings the human touch, the creative
That's
and the
where I come in,
marketing
Piyush.
piece.
That's where I come in. Oh, sorry, you're talking about Khushboo. Khushboo comes in there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, come on, tell us about the humane approach, because many people will be cynical when they first hear this. You come from entrepreneur backgrounds. He was in Wall Street, probably from a business background. You were a marketing person in Singapore, here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah. So somewhere for a very long time, I also had this dream to try my hand at entrepreneurship. And when Piyush was looking for co-founders, he suggested that since I've already mastered the art of dealing with him every single day, why not just give this a shot as well? And I said, why not? That makes sense.
What I'm really asking you is, what about your humane stories? Were you the kind of person who, look, when we're driving in Mumbai, for example, are you the kind of person who, when you see a beggar, you call them and give them money? Or you like me, you call them, show them the biscuit, then eat it?
I'm definitely known to call out people when I see them littering. So yeah, I definitely do that.
Mm-hmm. But you have a very tender heart. You like to help people yourself.
Yes, I think it would be funny to say
make
such
up a story because nobody knows.
No, and I wouldn't. It seems a bit funny for me to say that about myself. But yes, I'm told that I tend to get carried away when I see people suffering, and I have too much compassion for my own good. Is what I hear.
Because in our type of society, I know a lot of people be very cynical about people who are actually helpful for some reason.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, for me, it's ultimately at the end of the day, the lives that we've saved that matter. And in fact, recently, so when you're working at a startup, when you have your own startup every single day, I mean, I call CEO the chief everything officer. So there are days when we even wipe tables, which our employees leave behind. That's the definition of a startup. So, and those days are painful. But then when you hear stories, success stories that you've been able to create, where we've able to facilitate transplants of people and save lives, is when you feel that all of this journey was so worth it. I mean, recently we were featured in media for a transplant of a 37-year-old lady who's suffering from liver cirrhosis, and she needed 25 lakhs to get a liver transplant, and Impact Guru was able to get that for her in 10 days' time. Another story of a little baby who was suffering.
So what do you feel when that happens? I mean, almost...
It feels, it's very fulfilling and very heartwarming, and all of the 3 years of hard work and ups and downs that we've been through, it feels like things are coming together and it's leading to something, and it's making some impact. I mean, we were a team of just the two of us when we started. Now we're a 30-plus member team. It also feels good to be able to provide livelihood to so many people. And who knew the two of us together could do such a thing? We were just...
Were you scared? Were you scared in the beginning? Were you worried?
I think she definitely was, not knowing what type of a boss I was going to be.
And you could go back to Wall Street.
Yeah,
there are always concerns and apprehensions when you start off, because I think it takes time to get over the fear of failure, as an entrepreneur. And that's something both of us have overcome over a period of time. It
Do you
requires
stay in touch
persistence.
with the clients also? Do you stay in touch after the success or whatever? I presume success in most cases.
We try, and we definitely try and stay in touch. Sometimes not directly on phone calls, but through our team members. We try and track stories that are trying to raise funds on the platform. We definitely do. There have been cases in the past where there have been casualties for cases that we've raised funds. So
Casualties meaning?
There was a
Keep
little
in mind,
baby.
this used to be a comedy show. Yeah.
There was a little baby for whom we raised funds for his transplant, and we were able to raise funds successfully. The transplant did happen, but 2 days later the baby passed away because the organs couldn't accept it. So there are such stories.
It is emotionally draining as well.
It is.
Yeah,
So you have to go because in some way you feel a little responsible because you tried to help and yet it didn't go
Right.
through.
Yeah, so we did our bit. At least we knew the baby didn't go without getting a chance to fight. At least he got that transplant. It's sad that the baby still went, but at least we tried our
You
bit.
do realize you're making us look stupid. People who do normal work just earn little money and go home because you're doing work which has a slightly larger impact on society and a far more humane approach and compassionate approach.
No, I think we're all...
Okay, awkward question. You don't want to praise yourself. We'll leave it. But let's get back to this whole thing. Take us through one model once. So how does one now... let's look at the charity angle again. If somebody needs a transplant, let's say, and obviously don't have the wherewithal to it, what is the steps that they'll have to entail to reach you and to get success and get the liver transplant?
Yes, I think they will go to www.impactguru.com. They will basically create a fundraiser which takes about 2 to 3 minutes. They fill out basic information like their name, email, phone number, what their story is. We allow them to upload pictures and their medical bills and expenses so that we can verify with the hospitals and the doctor.
They can also upload videos, make a plea.
Right. And
Which works best, I suppose, right?
Yes.
Being just
Absolutely.
straight up and open and honest.
Absolutely.
And these are basic videos. And then, of course, they put in the goal amount, whatever they need.
Yes, they define, let's say they need 10 lakh rupees, for example, and then they can start fundraising immediately. And so typically we request the person who starts the page to put the first donation and then use Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, telephone calls.
Push it out there.
To push it out
Yeah.
and basically spread the word.
And all of these social media channels are fully integrated to Impact Guru, so you don't really have to. So if you're on the Impact Guru fundraiser page, you just hit that Facebook button.
direct.
Yes.
It's connected.
And we
to
assign
their
This
Fine.
is
social
important because when it gets complicated, that's when people drop off.
Yes.
Many times people say, okay, I want to help. But when I press this number, then I have to go to that place, from that place, go to that
No.
place. And then you sort of, lose
Everything
patience.
happens on that one page.
So it's
Right.
a one-stop go.
You share your story, you mention your story, you share your story, and then people come to that same page, hit that donate button, and you have your money flowing in.
Right. And we assign a dedicated relationship manager whose job is to guide this person the entire way, end to end, how to improve the story, how to make it more appealing, how to persuade more people to join in this movement.
And most importantly, to not miss out in important information, because there are people, we're expecting strangers out there to also come in and donate, and for them to feel sensitized, they need all the information. And sometimes people do not realize that they're so consumed by their story that they forget to give out important information, which then does not give the donor enough comfort to donate. So then we come in and also refine those
It's
stories.
also
for them.
time bound, right? In some
Yeah.
cases, like they
Yes.
need the transplant X time, otherwise
Exactly.
it's pointless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So we take them through this process because, all said and done, crowdfunding is still a fairly new concept in India, unlike in the US. So Indians are not very sophisticated crowdfunders yet. So we provide that hand-holding and that support and the dedicated relationship manager to every case that comes on board, so that from start to finish, they know exactly what needs to be done. There are follow-up calls made every single, every alternate day to these people. And sometimes we provide even help at 2 a.m. in the night, because some donor from a certain part of the world is trying to donate, and they have some questions. So
it's 24 hours, obviously.
Yes,
Because it's
yes.
International, England and UK and USA being a big market.
Yes.
Yes, and our team has been great. Sometimes they work around the clock, even on weekends, to provide support, because they feel so invested in these stories themselves. Each of our relationship manager knows their beneficiaries, knows their campaigners on first name basis, which actually goes to show the kind of customization and the kind of care we put in, towards all of the beneficiaries that are trying to raise funds on Impact Guru.
Okay, what if we spend 5 minutes going away from this and all the good work you're doing and figure out a little bit about yourselves? I haven't been able to get any personal details. Now,
Yeah.
Pankaj is supposed to be very serious, but sometimes that's not true. So let me ask Khushboo about him. Piyush, sorry. Pankaj is Piyush's elder brother. I said Pankaj. Stand up. Piyush. Khushboo.
So what do you want to know about him?
Tell me what he's really like. I know that he's brilliant at his work and he's got a great idea. Obviously, he was on Wall Street. All that is fine. But that you can get Google and find. What's he like?
So I think there's this myth floating around in the company that Piyush is very, very, he's a very strict boss because he just has this tendency to sort of...
He has a serious demeanor.
He has a very serious demeanor.
As you can tell in this conversation.
Yeah, but you're watching her like a hawk, huh?
But then I think once you get to know him and you really spend a little bit of time with him...
I'm not going to marry him. You have to tell me fast.
He appears very, very serious, but he's not that serious, so that's one.
What's the silliest thing Piyush has done? He appears to be a man who's never done anything silly in his life to me. Has he ever removed his clothes and run across Marine Drive like I have?
No, but he's jumped like a crazy person every time there's a Real Madrid football game.
Oh, he's a football nut.
He's a huge football freak.
Okay, so you're second.
I've also jumped out of an airplane for skydiving. That was definitely the craziest thing I did. And I'm not an adventurous person.
You're just a cheap guy, didn't want to travel by plane. Now let's talk about Khushboo. What's she like?
She's definitely a fashionista. I think she knows how to take care of herself.
So like Real Madrid, she gets her clothes from Madrid. That's how it works. Yeah.
Yes. And she's a lot into, I would say, 3 Fs, fashion, food and fitness.
Oof.
Yes.
Jesus. Why, Piyush? Why would you ever do that? Oh, my God. Okay. I dodged the bullet on that one. All right. Listen, guys, you've been wonderful. And it's very interesting, your story, Impact Guru. And it's very rare to find... it's a story that must go out because you managed to figure out that path where you actually do work which is, your life has some meaning to it. And make money and, do well as well.
Thank you.
Which is very rare. But it's a good story. And I hope people follow it, especially younger people listening. Because there's these startup stories. I know that many of them don't sort of pan out. Mm-hmm. But when they do, it's just wonderful. And I think you guys are a testament to that. So well done. And you can tip me for all the praising I've done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any plans now to expand Impact Guru? Is there another great idea coming in or anything else you want to add?
So we definitely want to expand more across the country, and we want to get more students involved in terms of volunteering because there are so many people who are suffering.
What about the B towns, C towns, who are not so internet savvy?
Yes. So there are so many people suffering from medical cases where they don't even know about crowdfunding and how it can help them. And so we want to create a national movement and get the youth involved in terms of helping out those who may not have a smartphone, who don't know about the internet, who still can benefit significantly from crowdfunding. That's one area we're definitely investing in.
To volunteer to be campaigners. So for example, somebody's domestic help needs money for a certain medical illness, but they do not have the technical know-how or the money or the access to a smartphone or a computer. So the person for whom they're working could actually volunteer to start that campaign for them. So basically want to start a nationwide volunteer program for people who can help others in need of funds, and by starting a campaign for them and promoting
it's the same pyramid effect. They're just going deeper and deeper into rustic India. Fair enough. One last final question. Mental health is a huge issue with me. I find most people I meet to be nuts. I got to tell you. Every day this guy's nuts. That guy's nuts. From the morning when I go to the gym till the evening when I'm done. I'm just thinking we need to look at mental health as well.
Absolutely, and I think especially over the past 2 years, there's been a there's been a lot of discussion.
Nobody knows, but we don't take it seriously.
But I'm glad that the discussion has started. People have started to open up. People have started to really understand that depression is not just...
Depression, that's the word.
Depression is not just...
listening to my podcast, but more. It's more to it.
It's an illness that needs to be dealt with like any other chronic illness. It needs medication like any other illness. It's not something that a person can control. Just because they're sad does not mean they're depressed. So people have started to use the word depression very loosely, which I think is very irresponsible and also ignorant. So I think we need to do a lot more about doing some advocacy around mental illness and really taking this issue seriously, and also deal with the taboo associated with it that most people feel very, very embarrassed to even talk about.
So the good news is, India, we are going to save you. One at a time. It'll take some time, but with crowdfunding, we'll reach it ultimately.
Absolutely.
Yes,
okay, guys, thank you so much. It's called Impact Guru. Piyush and Khushboo, they run this place. If you have a problem, you have to find them and they'll find the solution. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello Hello there, my name is Naveen Narona, and as a gay person in India, I get asked a lot of stupid questions.
Beta, is it LGBT or eligibility?
How do two men procreate?
Bro, is Grindr better than Tinder or what?
We answer all these questions and much more on my podcast, Keeping It Queer, where I talk to individuals from the LGBT community in India and learn about their personal stories. Catch all the episodes on the IVM podcast app or any other podcasting app you like. Till then, keep it queer.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Well, Khushboo and Piyush have left the building, as Elvis did in 1977. But now, Amit, who was born in 77, is going to tell us a little bit about life.
I wish I was born in 77. That would make me feel good.
What were you, 76?
74.
You only? The year Viv Richards made all those runs in India. Go on.
Can I have the sheet, please?
Give him the sheet.
Just going into, you're not even introducing me.
What a time to take a sheet. Oh, I'm so sorry. Naveen.
Yes.
Naveen Narona joins us as well, but you didn't tell me you were on the show.
I was born in 91.
MBA. You were born in 91?
You were born in 91? Wow. I remember it like yesterday. Because that's what it was.
Did I just say the word? Yeah, I think I just
said
did.
You said the F word that got Masaba banned from a test match that starts as we record.
I think this might be the first time I'm getting beeped on one of these shows. All right. So the first question I have is from Aradhya. Do you have any favorite books apart from Khushwant Singh joke books parts 1 through 10?
Oh, I love all those joke books. All the airport books.
They were best.
Let me tell you, don't knock those joke books because on airport trips, staying at airports when you travel a lot, in the old days, I'm talking about in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were available everywhere. And if you had a delayed flight, that joke book was your friend. And people would stare at you because, 4-hour delayed flight, everybody's in a bad mood. And you're the only guy going, doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. Correct. So I never really got the concept of joke books. Like, even as a kid, like now that I do comedy, the point of having a joke book in your hand seems so absurd to me sometimes. Because then...
What do you rather have in your hand? Okay, don't answer that.
Original content.
Yeah. No, but a joke book
But you're reading the joke book.
You'll be surprised how many open micers come these days.
No, that's Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh, whoever's written the joke or sent it in, he gives credit to that person.
Okay,
this joke was sent by reader so-and-so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think you're just being mean because he's Indian. You're racist.
No, I'm just curious.
Indians can't be comedians, and you're right.
No, I mean, plagiarism is a different thing.
Let me answer the question.
Yes. So what else are you reading?
Oh, I read mostly biographies. I have this biography thing. Right now I'm reading Elizabeth I.
Okay.
By another Elizabeth. The writer is also Elizabeth. I've reached a point where she's just become queen. Having been locked up by Mary Stuart, if you must know.
Okay.
I can see from your faces you won't want to know. But so I love reading biographies.
No, I watched The Crown.
And I read cricket.
That's the closest
Yeah, but I spit on your grave. My favorite film.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie.
No, I wouldn't go that far. Since you don't like Khushwant Singh, I don't like your film.
Well, it's Korean, that's why.
Khushwant Singh was not Korean.
No, the movie.
And if he was South Korean.
Wait, what? Okay. All right. The next question. How has the transition been from radio to television to podcasts? Do you have a there and back again type feeling? Anuj Mehta.
Anuj, very good question, but luckily, geographically, they aren't that far apart. People are the same, and the issues are the same. Everywhere I go, they put the ACs off, and I fight for the AC. That's the only issue that really matters to me from morning to night. Other than that, it's quite the same. But the difference between radio and podcast, other than the fact that radio is in Hindi, is that it's in such a small studio, Retro FM, 106 Point Chart. Let's give them a plug. That and forgive me for saying this, you feel gay by the end of it. Because we're three men, we're completely cramped, completely like that. Our elbows touch like in a classroom, and so it's just, the intimacy goes out of the window and it becomes much more than intimacy after some time. The podcast is a little more classy act what we have here, and by Mumbai standards, you could have a family of 7 peacefully in this room. And you could copulate in peace, at least 4 members, hopefully not siblings.
And have a closet as well somewhere in the corner.
Have a closet?
Yeah.
You want your thing? Okay.
Because the
All
recording
right,
rooms in radios are small as closets.
Done. Let's not go there. You made your point. Be subtle, be sophisticated.
Yeah.
Right.
But then my mom, she knows I work with you, but she never heard the podcast. She just hears the radio show and then she's like, oh, you work here. I'm like, no. I don't know. I'm like,
So
I don't
make
know.
her listen to the podcast, right?
One second. This is damn funny.
Yeah.
Your mom heard the retro show and thinks that's the podcast. This is what I like about our parents.
Exactly.
They really don't care about the world changing.
And then I'm like,
why aren't you on that radio show? You said you were.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to convince her. I'm like, yeah, this is me. I'm producing this.
Dude, no,
I
make
think
her
it's
listen to
right.
the podcast. Everybody, more people the better. Please make other people listen to the podcast.
I do the same thing when people think I'm Sajid Khan at the airport or wherever, and I say, yeah, okay. I've even signed. I've signed it as Deepak Tijori. I've signed as Ajay Jadeja, the cricketer. I have no problem.
Now I see the
I can see
resemblance.
Ajay Jadeja.
Yes,
but
I see Deepak Tijori more.
I won't have any closet in my studio. All right, you're banned.
All right. Have you taught Parsi to Kunal Vijayakar and has he taught you Marathi? This is from Ashwin.
Kunal speaks better Gujarati than me. He actually is more of a Parsi than me. He obviously speaks better Marathi than me. And he speaks better Hindi than me. He probably speaks better English than me as well. I don't think there's any doubt. I think people just have a language gene. Kunal loves being Parsi.
Yep.
He loves Parsis and he loves Goans. So these are his two cultures. His third culture is Marathi or Maharashtrian or Pathare Prabhu, which is his actual Pathare Prabhu, which is his actual genesis. But he's very comfortable being Parsi, and when he's with Parsi, he puts on a Parsi accent without knowing it. He's one of those guys,
I can
she'll be
see
like,
that.
so challenge, Baman, what's going on now? What should we do now? It just switches. And if you go and say, immediately goes, hey, Bugger, what's going on, man? Everything changes. He's like that. So he has that Indian problem when you're with a foreigner, and I'm not saying we are foreigners, but when you're with a foreigner, amazingly, you put on that accent. You must be known guys who do that.
Yeah.
There's this guy called Nick Pillow.
Yes.
And he does this act. There's a sidekick with him who stands on stage and has the same accent.
I'm constantly accused of doing that.
Yeah, but he's British, right? So he has a very strong British accent.
But who's the guy who copies him?
What?
There's this guy with him when they...
Oh, that's me.
That's you. That's you.
But what about your Marathi skills?
Me, Marathi bolto hai, but they normally tell me not to because it just sounds exactly like what I said.
You know, Pude Sala and
but
all
I can
that.
understand quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't really
same here. I can understand.
but
I can't speak.
I don't speak enough to be confident.
I feel
but if
like
I do a little bit, it comes out.
Yeah, I feel like that's what needs to be there with this, right? These languages, if you speak them, you can say them. But if you're around them all the time, you can understand them more or less.
Gujarati, if I'm around people speaking Gujarati, my Gujarati just improves immediately.
I think Marathi is a very sweet language in general. When people talk it in the way...
Are you East Indian? What are you?
No, I'm Mangalorean.
So why do you speak Marathi?
Because I went to a school where
you managed to learn.
Yeah, I got scholarships in Marathi and everything.
Wow,
yeah.
You were the first Maharashtrian stand-up comedian.
No, I'm
with the surname Narona. Till they found out and threw you out.
I'm the first Mangalorean gay Catholic Marathi-speaking comedian.
Or so you think.
I cover all demographics.
What a market to have, huh?
Yeah, because
if you're gay, if you're Catholic, if you go to morning mass,
and if you talk in Marathi, dirty talk in Marathi.
Come and watch my show.
All right, cool. You know what? Normally that would be it, but I just saw a question from one of our old timers who I haven't seen in a while. Briefless Attorney.
Briefless Attorney is back.
He actually got angry and said, I won't ask you any more questions, but he's back.
Sting, please. Briefless Attorney.
Briefless, which is your favorite airline and why?
That's a tough one, but I've had some good experiences on a couple. I actually have, and I know we lampoon them a lot. I like Air India. And I'll tell you why.
I do too.
I like Air India because no one treats you as well as Air India.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost like your own mom. And I don't mean this in a bad way.
You're right.
They're really nice with service. The only problem is they're not good with punctuality. And yes, sometimes the seat, when you press that button to go back, it doesn't go anywhere. And the button doesn't even move. And sometimes the TV thing doesn't come down. But that's just maintenance. But I do like it. I have a soft spot for Air India.
I like Air India internationally a lot.
And I like Vistara.
Vistara's not bad.
And Jet can't complain.
Yeah. No, I like internationally. I like Air India a lot. I mean, I really do.
I took the New York flight. Are you talking the New York flight?
Yeah,
that's a must.
It's the best flight.
If you have the money, take the New York flight. If you don't, find money and take the New York flight. Of course, you don't have to come back. So this, that too.
but that's the single best flight there is to the US, right? I mean, the Bombay, Delhi, New York is just the best. Coming back and going.
I also was very fond of Singapore Airlines when I used to travel to Singapore a lot. Very efficient, very quick, always on time.
I like Qatar actually quite a bit. Qatar's
well, now's not a good time to like Qatar. You be careful.
I like the Qatar Airways.
Yeah.
Just generally. I mean, they do. It's a good airline.
I would be a little worried till they sort everything out in that part of the world.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just so for me, convenient timing matters a lot, right?
Oh, yes. Punctuality is very important.
Yeah, Qatar is a good time.
What I've never understood is, and you guys can enlighten me, you the comedian, please, which is when guys come and say, man, the hostesses in such and such airline are so hot. What does that mean? You think that really makes a difference to your life? That they are so hot? What does that really mean? What?
But I don't.
Do they come and sit on his lap and play with his hair and tell him what a great-looking man he is and take his
why
number?
do we need the stewardesses to be so well-dressed and everything?
That's what I don't understand. I don't get the correlation between flying and how good-looking
just
the air
feeding you and taking your kachra bags.
I think if the houses are hot, you feel terrible about your life.
Yeah.
Because maybe your wife isn't so hot. And maybe you don't know girls who are that hot. And maybe girls that are hot have never talked to you. So why would you want to go to the experience again?
Do you
it's
think
unreal.
you can get a boner on that level up high? With blood pressures all over the place, right?
You think so? You're asking a biological, physiological question, purely scientific.
There is a Mile High Club. People are
yeah,
members of that club.
but they actually not just boner, they bone.
Yeah.
Brother, where have you been?
I'll never fit in there. I had a difficult time pooping only in a air flight. I don't know.
Dude.
Is this the standard of your comedy? Because I have to come all the way to Malad for this?
I poop on stage as well, yes.
Oh, man.
That's what I do.
Okay, I'll come. I got nothing to do. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. If you have any questions, write to us online and you can mail us as well. We will answer. We have a doctor in the house called May.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Excuse me, भैया. Excuse me.
बोलिए मैडम.
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस सेज है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर सकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है. आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम. आप जाओ ivmpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप. सब आपकी उंगलियों पे.